If any of you actually remember when savings accounts used to pay like 5 or 6%, drop a comment below because I know you are of a certain age. If you remember those days, I just want to make a quick uh, video on this one because I got in a conversation recently a few times. By the way, not giving financial advice in any way, shape, or form. Not what I do. Just talking about current state of the market and what's going on with inflation. But I was talking to someone about what's going on with inflation, savings, and the stock market, and they're talking about how bad inflation is. And I'm like, inflation is good if you own shit. If you own a house for $500,000 and inflation goes crazy and now it's worth $750, then you benefited from that. My truck, I didn't even want to sell my truck. My truck is like a daily driver. I beat the shit out of it. I live on dirt roads. I drive like I don't care. I'm trying to blow this truck up. I figure I was going to drive it 5 or 6 years. I'm 3 years into it, and the used car people are offering me so much money for it. I went and ordered myself a new truck. They're giving me almost as much money for my 3-year-old truck with 70,000 miles as I paid for it brand new. It's just one of those things where inflation, in that sense, if you own something, it increases the value of it. I love boats. I'm big in the boating world, and if you own boats right now, they've gone through the roof. What sucks is if you don't own anything right now, and the only thing that you're getting stuck with is paying for the inflation. That's a terrible spot to be in. And I'm using the bank savings accounts as an example. They said inflation right now is like 5.5% or some shit. Well, your savings account's paying like 0.5% or less if you look at it here. So you're basically losing like 5% of your money every year if you think about it due to inflation. So just having money in the bank sucks. And if you got no money or no assets and your wages isn't going up, but everything else is going up, and things really suck for you. They talked about some of these like private equity companies or hedge funds or some shit. I don't remember who they are. The news was there's a bunch of news a few months back. And these places were buying up all the houses. Not all the houses. They were buying up a lot of houses. They talked about pension funds buying houses. I don't know where that article's at. Google it. I'm sure you could find it. Well, yeah, because if they go own an asset and they're expecting inflation or hyperinflation, then that's going to pay off as those homes greatly appreciate. More so than taking the risks, in traditional equities. So again, if you own things, if you own cars, if you own boats, if you own anything of value, for the most part, as inflation goes up, you do a little bit better. The place you don't want to be is not having money. Just having money in a savings account paying 0.5% ain't doing you much good. At that point, I tell people often, the stock market's not a rich person's game. Where I came from, we grew up with not much money. That's how you always thought, though, the stock market was rich people's game. Like, you had to get an invitation to play the stock market, right? And that's bullshit. Anybody at any time can get in the stock market. I mean, that's how Robinhood blew up. I learned that as a late teenager. One of my dad's friends was like, "Hey, get in the market." Anybody can get in the stock market, so it's like one of those things trying to break down barriers. If you're working class or even middle class, it's like I think a lot of times you think you can't get into the investing world. There's not other places to put your money than savings. Go talk to a financial advisor or do your own research and figure that out. But the last place I want to be sitting right now is this money in a savings account, earning half a percent when inflation's 5+. And based on what I'm looking at in energy, what I see going on in real estate, what I see going on in the grocery store, inflation feels like a hell of a lot more than 5%. Who knows how much it is? And with hyperinflation, they're talking about hyperinflation coming. Man, if you just have cash in the bank, you're about to get hit hard right now. I don't know what you do about that. Go talk to somebody. What do you do? What's your strategy? Sounds like some people are buying homes. Other people are buying stocks. It's like, I don't know, is there anywhere you can run and hide when hyperinflation hits? If you own shit, if you own assets that are going to appreciate during the time of inflation, it seems like you might be okay. But just step back from it and think about it. It's like, they talk about why is inflation so bad? Well, when your savings accounts are paying paying a 0.5% at the most, and your national inflation rate's 5+%, people are losing right now. It's you're losing money every year. So I just remember those days where you could put $100,000 into like a CD, and you would make $6,000, right? When rates were 5-6% back then. I don't know if we're ever going to see that again. If we raise rates, it's going to collapse the housing market. If we raise rates, it's probably going to collapse every credit-driven market because we're so driven by credit right now. And the only way we can afford a lot of this shit as the inflation hits, when houses get more expensive and wages can't keep up, the only thing you can do is keep rates low to make the homes affordable. When inflation hits and the housing prices go up and you raise the rates so people can't afford those homes anymore, what do you think is going to happen, man? Anyways, something to think about. I'm doing another episode on like the people that are all doom and gloom right now, and I don't want to be all doom and gloom. I'm just trying to say, hey, keep an open set of eyes about what's going on around us right now, and think about how it ends. You want to hope it ends for the best, but I don't know. Like, I feel like we knew how to get out of the housing market when it crashed, 2008, 2009. We knew we could just kind of print money. We would dig ourselves out of that hole. We would ensure, even though I felt we could have done more, because if you were trying to get any kind of loans back then, it was very difficult, even if you had assets. I felt like liquidity back then still wasn't what it should have been. But that is something that we can fix. We can print money at a snap of a finger, it seems. COVID has taught us we can just print money. We printed trillions of dollars. So when there's a liquidity issue, we can do that. Right now, the issue is, what do you do when there's too much money? And one of the ways to get the money back out is through interest rates, but if you raise interest rates, it collapses the whole fucking thing. So I got an uneasy feeling about that right now. If you got some thoughts on that, how do we get out of this mess? How do we fix the worker shortage? How do we fix the supply chain shortages? How do we fix the ports? How do we get the money back out of the system? How do we deal with the evictions? Is there some commercial real estate stuff going on we need to worry about? How do we get out of this? What's your answer? What's your ideas? What's your thoughts? I'm curious. Drop me a comment. Till then, I'm going to catch you on the next one.